on music too, and that's not something that's lost on me. So one of the things that I'd like to try to do is reach out to a college and see if we can unspot lessons. Reach out to a local college and see if there are students who get that ideas. So hopefully, Sabro's the only one with a music education major in the area.
Oh, no, it's going to be county.
Schenectady County Community.
Yeah, they have a big, in fact, the vice president of the board I'm on for Learning String, she's the director of Allison Music
education? That's what I was looking for specifically.
You're looking for music education?
Yeah, because those folks have requirements to learn so many instruments, and so they could be a little bit more flexible.
They have a big music program now.
Okay.
And, most of those at that point they're usually.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I think that there's some opportunity there for not a lot of money to have kids at least participate, maybe not in big groups, big bands or orchestras, but to at least take lessons. I think that there's some possibility to do that in our schedule by bringing students in like that and collaborate with local colleges that way.
Another possibility is RD at RPI. She was former associate dean of the College of Music at the University of Michigan, and so she's all set on bringing electronic music type stuff, right? So there's a different kind of twist to it that might be like ice or something.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just kind of jumping around, trying to get everybody in as best as possible, and I'm going to let these lovely gentlemen go next because they are going to talk to us about the Appraisers Roadshow, is that what you call it? Just so they can give us like an idea of what to expect, what types of things that they'll handle, the types of things that we might be handling. They're going to email me like a nice big long list of all sorts of ideas and things that we can talk about at a later date, but we wanted to at least hear from these gentlemen and then obviously decide, do we need to decide on a date today while you're here? Or quickly?
We're booking.
Yeah, so we want to get that, we want to talk about that as well and kind of get that on our calendar.
How far are you on a date, do you know approximately, or?
Well, I think we were hoping for maybe something in April or May.
April would be good.
Okay. Okay.
Should we start?
Yes, go
Okay,
ahead.
just tell us a little about ourselves. I'm Robert Maringolo, this is Walter Bizarre. I'm a member of the New England Appraisers Society. Walter's been an art dealer in Paris, France, and Saratoga for the last 40 years. I founded the Albany Auction Gallery years ago. I handled Mayor Corning's estate when he and his wife passed away. Siena College had an extensive art collection. I sold that. One of the world's great Shaker collections was two professors from Troy, the Uptons, Charles and Helen Upton. I handled their estate. It was funny, Ken Burns, the movie producer, his first movie was on the Shakers. And Helen Upton was in the movie, and he was in the front row, and bought quite a bit of Shaker. We started this about 5 years ago. We've organized, we travel with essentially 9 appraisers, and then we're hooked up via computer with other appraisers around the country. But what we've done is we've assembled some of the best minds in the business. We use former Sotheby's and Christie's heads of department. We use a man named Lark Mason, if you ever watched the Antique Roadshow. He was the Sotheby's Chinese expert for 24 years. Now he's on his own. He does our Chinese things if we need help. We use Sebastian Azard, he was head of Christie's Japanese department in the 90s, and he does our Japanese. We have a stamper expert with us, Colin Fraser, a PhD from Cambridge University. He was Christie's stamp expert for 18 years. And we have a military expert, one of the leading experts in the world, who actually lives in the Mohawk Valley. We have silver and jewelry experts with us. We have, we kind of cover right across the board. And we started this about 5 years ago. We felt there was a need for it, and there is a need for it. The business has changed dramatically over the years. Things that people used to buy, they no longer buy. Mid-century modern is the current rage. Things from the 50s, 60s, 70s. Certain markets have almost disappeared completely. Victorian furniture, certain American art glass and things like that. But we've been fortunate. We've found treasures. We did find we found $1 million chair in Lake George that had been a gift to the Chinese emperor in 1736, and we got the people just over $1 million. We also here in Albany found $1 million piece of Chinese furniture that brought $1,200,000 when we finally got back to Hong Kong. One of the more interesting things is what we find and how it got here. We did one to benefit the Fulton County Museum, and a woman brought in a 24-karat gold sword that King Faisal had given her prince on his wedding in 1952. So how that winds up from Saudi Arabia to Gloversville, New York, we don't know. We did one at the Birchville Penny Art Center in Buffalo, right across from the Albright Knox Museum, and somebody came in with 30 17th century portrait miniatures from Spain, and that were brought back by a gentleman who worked in the Spanish cabinet and actually handled the sale of Picasso's Guernica to the Spanish government, and he fled to Mexico when Franco took over and then wound up in Buffalo, New York. So we do find these things. People bring in all sorts of things, and some have no value, but they show up, and we raise money for people. And we've been fortunate. We've been sponsored by major organizations and museums around the country. We did one last fall at the Everson Museum in Syracuse, which is kind of a major museum in that part of the world. The college at Brockport, where I attended years ago, found us and asked me to do an appraisal there to benefit their library, which we did. One of our most recent ones was the Jefferson County Historical Society in Watertown. We did one there, and we're going to go back and do another one this year. And so that's kind of what we do and what we find. We have kind of strict rules. What we do is we pay all the expenses. We pay for all the advertising, and the hosting organization just gets to collect the money. And so the way it's been in the past, it's $5 per item, unlimited amount of items, and they get it all. And we generally raise between $4,000 and $6,000. That's not a ton of money, but it works for them. But it also makes people aware of who they are, where they are, and that's kind of thing. And we have a lot of fun. And so we find treasures where we least expect it. When we did the one in Watertown recently, 3 documents signed by George Washington, things like that show up, and we're always surprised that some treasure shows up. When we did one the last time, when this place was in Rensselaer, a woman came in, and her great-grandfather was the ambassador to Japan under Lincoln. And so she asked us to come to her house, and his name was Robert Prime, and the house was filled with things he brought back in the 1860s from Japan, including a collection of Soromona, which are these incredibly rare Japanese prints that were not for public. They were made gifts worth many, many thousands of dollars. What didn't come in the last time, and what we heard was going to come in, some gentleman that had something to do, he worked for Map Info, it had something to do with the basic foundation of all of what you folks are doing here. And he worked with Stephen Jobs, and had a early computer given to him, one of the early ones, with a dedication from Stephen Jobs on it. Worth an incredible amount of money in today's market, but that never came in. We heard it was coming in, but it didn't.
Maybe this time.
And
He's moved someplace.
do you know who I'm talking about? Yeah. But we heard it was going to come in, and we were waiting for it to come in, and it didn't come in. So whether he still has that early prototype, I don't know that. But so one of the things that makes us successful, we advertise well in advance, but we put up signage in good intersections. So this is kind of confusing for me to come here from the highway that I came in. It was little. So is there an easier way to get here? Did you come in from
Fuller Road?
Fuller Road. Is there another way to get here?
Yeah.
Fuller Road is.
Yes, I mean, the highway is the most accessible just because they have large volume traffic. But Stuyvesant Plaza is just on the other side of Fuller, and then you go the other way, and that comes out right to Yeah. So Fuller Road connects two major roads and two major neighborhoods that would.
Well, what we like to do is put signs at busy intersections.
Yes.
And what we found over the years that any time there's a chain store,
Right.
we're not allowed to do it. So what we do is we find private businesses and individuals, tell them what they're doing, and then they allow us to put the signs up, and we do that about 2 weeks ahead of time. And they're big professional signs, they're not
Yes.
hand-drawn signs, they're professional signs. And that does make a big difference. What also makes a difference, and what Walter's going to talk about, is the institution that we're doing it for. You know, when we did it for the Iverson Museum, you know, they have their whole network of people through social media, whatever. And so we don't know what sort of thing you folks have, but Walter does that for us, and and it makes a difference in the amount of attendance. You know, our appraisers come from a long distance, and again, they don't charge anything like that. We kind of pick up all the expenses. But so the more people that come, the more likely that they'll do business. And when I say do business, we broker for people, we auctioneer, and we also buy. And one of the things we advertise is, like, for the next 6 months, we do house calls. A representative will do house calls for free. So we'll go to some people who are in wheelchairs, some people have too many items, some people want privacy, and so we don't charge anything for that. But that's how we do business, and that's why these people come. Otherwise, it's just not out of the goodness of their heart, even though they're all socially minded people. And but that's basically it. And so Walter,
Yeah, the 20 shows we've gone through in the last 4 or 5 years, and I've been here for about 3 years.
Yeah.
There's a good correlation between the publicity we get and the amount of people that show up. That's always my concern, how many people we get through the door. And I noticed as soon as we get on TV and get on the radio, everything changes. You have crowds to the door at 8 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes we're really too busy. At most, we get maybe 100 people in a room at the same time. That's the most I've seen in the auditorium in Buffalo. I saw that many people.
and sometimes we do one-day ones, and sometimes we do two-day ones.
So we're looking for if any cooperation with the school. There's a PR department here. If the kids want to get involved in social media, we can help. More recently, with Twitter and with Facebook, people are just starting to connect with that. It occasionally catches fire. You'll see it sort of get rampant, and all of a sudden people are coming in with also with saw you on Facebook. I go, really? It's hard to believe.
Yeah.
And if there's any connections with the school and any of the local media, especially the TV or the radio, like NPR might do something sometimes, or local TV stations are always good. And occasionally, if you find a friend at a local TV station, they'll run a spot.
The one we just did, the one we did in Watertown, the historical society was very helpful. They had me do an hour show from the mayor's office and on the radio where people actually called in. Then they had contacts and they brought TV people in, and that changes everything. It really does. And,
or local talk radio show hosts are good sometimes.
Yeah.
They'll listen to us. But once we get on TV or the radio, then the dynamics of the event usually change quite quickly.
The one we did several years ago in Rensselaer was actually very lightly attended. I was surprised. It was one of the more lightly attended ones that we've ever done. And and some of the other places we've done with, there's a lot less population. But we've gotten
sort of finger in the air, just guessing out, thinking out loud. I would think you should get at least 1,000 people to all, at least. I mean, I would think. They bring 1 or 2 or 3 objects. That's what happened in Buffalo. It was kind of the same.
And there's one potential issue that comes up, and it has come up with us, and that is local dealers are incredibly territorial, and sometimes they actually get crazy because we're in their territory, and they raise all sorts of havoc. And the worst one that we had was in Syracuse. The guy just lost it.
Yeah, they can't do it because it's to benefit the college or benefit the school. It's sort of silly, but
it happens, so that's just a heads up ahead of time.
I think
When you say-
big. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. When you say that, what could we be facing?
Well, slander, stuff
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
The guy in Syracuse probably must have had some mental health issues because he put up signs outside the Everson Museum that it was unethical for appraisers to appraise and then also potentially be buyers. And there's certain rules that we follow. It's not unethical at all. It's in all the guidelines that,
Yeah.
the procedure that you go through.
Sure.
And so this guy tried to make it sound like we were doing something unethical and actually scheduled his own event the same day. And he said, these guys are unethical, come and see us,
That's right.
And,
I thought that happened here.
No, I don't see that, but-
That's a screwball situation.
but there's different levels of that where people
Okay.
just get upset and, they say, well, we live here, we pay taxes, and these outsiders are coming and they're gonna steal our business. Well, this
So you're an Albany person.
But
so
you're
that's how-
not, I mean,
Yeah.
we were
I'm just saying what
Yeah.
happens, the odds, is there a chance it won't happen here? Sure, but it has happened in the past, so I always bring it up, because people might say, oh.
In a place like Troy or Hudson, right, imagine the local community get, more concerned. But
I
here,
would think
Albany's a
Hudson
much
maybe,
bigger.
yeah.
Hudson, yeah, definitely, yeah, but.
Right, but our advertising will reach us.
Well, I was gonna say, I know the school district, right? You could probably tell him the size of the school district of students that come here.
We reach as far down as Green
Yeah,
County, for example,
counties,
right?
towns.
So what we'll do, we'll give you
Yeah.
guys references, we'll give you the person to speak to. Most of the people have been absolutely delighted when we've done these things.
I happened to mention my office day and like
Yeah.
7 people perked up like, when? And I was like, I don't know yet. Oh my
Well,
goodness.
the Birchfield Penny Buffalo was delighted. The Everson Museum were happy, except for the one guy that created problems. The Watertown one, they said it was the greatest turnout of any event they had. They want us to come back. So we'll give you those contact numbers so you can speak to those.
So I would say to you that the reason that we called upon you again was because from the Rensselaer event, I think I may be the only person left on PAC from that event, but the revenue that was generated for PAC and what we do to support the kids within this facility has carried us for the last couple of years.
So when you say 4,000 to 6,000, we're like,
Right,
Yeah.
I mean, we do not spend a lot of on the kids, but when we have the opportunity to help with prom
Well,
or yearbooks.
I think Walter, that was the first one Walter came to, right?
I don't remember which one was that.
That was in Rensselaer, yeah. But Walter's gonna take over the social media, and he's up till midnight contacting people.
Well, we have a lot of tech
And
savvy
it's
people, so
really
they're
made,
here to help.
it's really made a difference.
I just wanna, so we also have a communications person at school, and I think that would be a great thing for her to get involved in. And also, president of our business alliance is, the guy who runs WMHD.
yeah.
And,
Right.
he's pretty helpful too. So, we could tap into that too, tap into the other folks in our business alliance.
And we have a website, www.gotoroadshow.com.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a website that gives my biography, which is just
My own-
www.robertmaringlo.com. Walt, do you have your own website?
So you were
Got a
thinking
few of them,
of running it here at school?
Yes.
So the only thing that I want to check is, so when you know about when you want to do it, if you decide that's what you want to do, I would just want to make sure that it's okay with the landlords to put up signs and things like that.
Yeah.
That they know what's going on. I think they do have some caveat in the lease that any of the events that happen here would be like STEM related. So I would just make sure it was okay with them.
Would we need things like security or maybe
I would tell
campus
them.
police?
Yeah, I would
because
just
of
tell
the
them.
size of,
I would just tell them what's happening,
Okay.
about how many people we're expecting.
Yeah, and about how many people
One-
should we have staffing the event?
Well, you'll need
Help you.
1 or 2 people to take the money, and maybe someone at the door to direct people. Sometimes we discourage people from bringing large objects, but they bring them anyway.
I was gonna say.
And, but, not a lot of people, you'll need,
So we did shifts before. It was similar, we had the hallway, they walked into a room, we had a table with a sign.
Yeah.
We even went the extra mile and sold bottles of water for $1
Yeah.
and Rice Krispie treats.
And what we do is we set up in a horseshoe with our tables, and we have signs on the front what the expert is and who
Were you
the.
able to see the main room that we have, so that you see the size of the space?
Well, yeah, we'd like to look at that, we always look at that, so, again, we
You
set up with
peeked
a
your
horse.
head in, because I was in there eating pizza. You
Yeah, I
did peek
saw you
your
did
head
that.
in, that's, yeah.
And so, so it's set up in this horseshoe, and the tables are all labeled. Behind us, we have a table with some reference books and things like that.
Yeah, I think since it's going to benefit the school, I think you get a lot more participation from the media than you would normal.
Yeah, so if anybody has any connection with the television stations.
We'll write the press releases with you, would make you, have you approve them, and we'll work back and forth, and we'll submit to every newspaper from here.
Well, we're lucky because we do have a
So the first thing, Jim,
officer.
is probably we have to get approval to do this here.
Yeah.
Pick the date and say, can we do this?
Yeah, pick a date and then, let me know. If you give me their contact, I can get that to Heather. and-
Right now, we're scheduled, our first one is the last weekend in April. So mid-April would work for us, around the 15th would work.
Yeah, if we can get 3 months or 2 months lead time on the press, it really
Yeah.
helps a
So
lot.
we have to
you know.
avoid April break, so it's just, that's the only date that we have.
Isn't April break towards the end of the month?
I
though?
think so.
Last week.
Yeah, so I think we're
Last
fine.
week.
I know my son's birthday's over this year, the week of the 25th.
So like maybe the 16th?
16th would work.
And
that's a Saturday. We always do it on a week.
Training, that I'm not even available from Friday to Sunday.
That's all. Understood. Okay.
Now, is it first come, first served? People line up at the door?
Yeah, they
Okay.
come.
Just put it in night, depending on what they have, sometimes they have to go to 2 lines, other times they just go to 1 person.
So is it like a 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. event?
Or, yeah, sometimes we go to
Or-
6 or 7 p.m., you know, whatever, because some people need that time. Like I say, in the bigger areas, we've been doing it 2 days in a row, which really works too.
And when would we start? Just so, because we can actually start by putting in a building use request.
I'm sorry, when you,
What time in the morning should we start?
we usually let people in at 9.
Okay.
Yeah, people have to
I'm
drive.
thinking 9 to, I'm
You know,
thinking 9
one
to
of the, you know,
6.
some of the appraisals trip as far away as Syracuse. and things
So
like
you'd
that.
want to set up like 8:15, 8:30?
No, what we do is we set up the night
Night
before.
before.
We just come and set up the
Okay,
night
so then we.
before. And then what we also do is we have
Night before.
chairs out.
So,
Oh, is it?
Prom?
That's prom?
night before.
Night
Might
before
just
from
be a
the same, the same room.
No, different location.
Different location.
Yeah, but let's talk about that just for a real quick second. Does it really matter all that much? We're not going prom.
We do have kids at the school until the prom time, because prom's on a Friday this year. We're gonna
Right.
leave the
Right,
School
they're gonna
open and
have-
shuttle,
Right.
so they'll be here
Great
until
idea.
7.
What time did you set
If
up?
they wanted to set up, we
You know, I don't live that far away. I'm a 40-minute drive. Yeah.
We set up at 8 in the morning if you had to.
Well, we had, I
Setting up
prefer the
after
night
7
before.
p.m. is okay?
What's
Because we
that?
have,
Oh,
the
yeah.
room's in use until 7 p.m.
Basically,
That's
what I
just-
do is, like, you know, we used to bring a lot more stuff and computers, but now we use these,
Yeah.
you know, and so we don't bring in computers anymore. We use this for many things. One is a lot of stuff that we looked at cheap stuff. We just go to eBay and see sold, and we tell people, well, your Armand Massé doll from 1890 just sold on eBay for $350. So that's kind of an idea. And then, so we don't bring a lot of stuff, and we don't even bring as many books as we used to. We used to bring hundreds of reference books if we had to.
So if you could come and set up from like 6 to 7, would that be?
That's not a problem.
On Friday?
That's not a problem at all.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, we run some wires and stuff like that because we do use magnification because people bring small things in with jewelry that you have to read
Yeah.
the name of the touch marks on it, the silver touch marks.
So Jim, do you think we would need a building request for Friday night if the building is already open? Or we would only need one for Saturday?
It doesn't matter. You wouldn't need to fill out
Right, we could-
anything.
Okay.
So we would just let you in.
So we would need to have people here on Friday night.
So the lucky thing is there's plenty of parking. And
Yeah.
weekends, there won't be
Yeah.
any, or hardly anybody there, so that's.
Given there's no event at CNC.
Do you know what kind of mailing list you have for
That's what I want.
people associated with the schools? The mailing list sometimes always help.
I have to refer to, I know we have those things.
Yeah.
We
So-
could get it out to those.
Is this affiliated with the college at Albany at all?
No, but we do have contacts there too, so that we can spread it.
I mean, that's another good intersection, so the on-ramp.
Well, I'm talking about
right
if,
off
if,
the-
with the college, if you have some sort of affiliation where we could use their contact and social contact.
See, CNSC and SUNY Albany split, and there's a war between
Yeah,
the two,
that's
sort of roughly
really-
speaking, so we're on this side of that fence. But there's what, several hundreds, if not over 1,000.
I would say even if you
folks
put
that work
up,
right now.
if you could somehow figure out if you're even allowed to put up a sign like in the
Yes.
circle
Right, CNC.
or by the circle, I mean, that would
Yeah,
give
what we do
so
is
much.
we have sandwich board signs, and some of them are 6 feet wide. Again, they're all professional signs, and it'll just say, Appraisers Roadshow, when, what time, and contact number. Again, anytime we try and put it in a chain, that's not allowed, and
Yeah.
even on, highway property or town property. We look.
We'll have to have Jim sort of, feel that, because CNSC can be a little picky about what kind of signage. They're into the whole high-tech thing, so if it's not high-tech, they can.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I'll talk to them.
Yes, yeah. But on the other end is a Goodwill. It's located on the corner, so they're sort of a public service. So they're right at the Fuller and Center intersection. Stuyvesant Plaza is on the other side. So those two are both private, enterprises. And so if we can.
Well, if we could get a sign in both of those places, that would be huge.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
again, we put them up about 2 weeks ahead of time, and it really does make a difference.
Yeah, and SUNY Albany is the other candidate, or at least one of the businesses right at that on-ramp.
One of the arguments about that, if we do it for you, we have to do it for other people. And so that's the biggest argument we get. And it's a legitimate argument.
Right.
Will you put it on private property, like if someone's like. I
Well,
know
that's
there's
what
a
we
really
normally
good
do. We look for
location,
private businesses, we
okay.
tell them, and
Or a home.
even home, and we get permission, because it's for,
Yes.
worthy causes, and people don't mind at all.
Yeah.
It's just the public chains where there's policies, like Stewart's doesn't allow it.
Right.
I mean, just down Fuller, you've got homes to businesses to Stuyvesant in the corner. I think the opposite, this side is a private business. It's not a chain of any sort. I think it's a dentist.
Dental office.
Yeah.
So,
Does anybody know the Swires? The Swires that
No.
still own
No,
Stuyvesant Plaza?
I think they still on it.
Yeah, I think so.
There's some event that's going on right now that's on the corner across from Stuyvesant Plaza. I can't remember what it is, but I've seen the sign there every morning. So,
That's just it. I mean, I think they're
Oh,
both good opportunities in those locations.
Scout it out and see who would be willing to do it. Just stop in a few places and see if they're willing to participate.
And the big thing is just really great, making sure we can utilize the facility on that day.
I think that we can make that happen. It's just a matter of like.
Well, I can say to you that we had it's possible last year from the previous principal,
Didn't have.
but yeah, we just
didn't get it
It was so
together.
dysfunctional.
Here's a problem that I had today that we have to figure out. I put it in my GPS and it said, I can't find it.
what GPS did you use?
What's that?
What GPS did you
Yeah.
use?
Garmin.
That's why.
But a lot of people have Garmin.
It's as much age of
Yeah.
the GPS
The
as
data.
anything else.
Yeah.
I live on Railroad Ave in Manans.
Right.
I get tractor trailers down this road that barely fits my car. Actually, I used to live, it's around the corner. My mother lives on it. They're looking for Railroad Ave over here at the end of Fuller.
Fuller.
The problem is Garmin and everybody sources their data from the government who says, oh, it's a road, it's 0 to 100. So the problem is Railroad Ave here is 0 to 120 something, but Railroad Ave in Manans is 32.
Well, how do we overcome that problem? If people have a Garmin like I do and they want to come here and
You
they can't
give
find the
them
place.
you give them the major landmark. You give them its CNSC.
Campus.
Or studio.
SUNY, you look for Fuller Road, CNSC. We get permission hopefully for some sort of sandwich board here, turn here, because they use them all the time for event parking here. I can't imagine they wouldn't deprive us of sandwich board for we're in here today. You know.
What ad were you putting in Tech Valley High School? Were you putting in the street address?
I gave him Tricentennial Drive.
246.
Yeah, she gave me that, I put that in, and it didn't come up.
Google worked perfect. He's gotten here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm honestly, I
Garmin
because
actually
they're
don't,
updated.
I actually don't think that being as much of a problem. And again, we'll have a phone number for people to call if someone really wants to get here and they can't find it. Hell, they can call myself up. I want to get here. It's Saturday morning. Where the hell are you? I'll get them here. So I'm not too concerned about that. I am concerned about the time because it's 6:30 and I have a couple of kids that still need to present to us.
Yes.
So I'm gonna give you guys my business cards, because you said you were gonna email me some logistics. I think
I'll do that.
we'd like to aim for the 16th of April.
Yeah.
And then we'll have Mr. Niedermeyer do what he needs to do to make
Sure.
sure we can do it. And then,
Okay, so this isn't a done deal, and you have to get permission, is that what's going on?
we think we have,
I think.
oh, you did,
Give me like.
We each
So
have
we're,
a
we're,
card?
we're
I think I brought about
we're
5
tenants
cars,
here,
so-
and so CNS, the College of Nanoscale Science and Engineering are the landlords. So, although we have certain discretion,
Oh,
with any
good.
major
Thank
event,
you.
they need to know that it's happening.
Well, just tell them this is fun.
Yeah.
Tell them this is
They're
fun.
real, they're real huge fans of fun.
on.
Yeah.
Maybe we should try another tact.
Well, it's fun and it's the word.
The other thing is, we didn't mention, in case it works or fits, thank you, in case it fits into the schedule, there's some pretty interesting experts showing up. And we oftentimes offer the ability of a lecture.
Yes.
So we'll give a 30-minute lecture, a 20-minute lecture on whatever
That would be fun.
the topic is. And we've gotten some results with that in Buffalo and other big cities. So, and the other thing that happens is a lot of people are coming over the internet now. Since they see the advertising, they'll contact us by email. And I haven't done this yet, but if they can figure out a mechanism by which to donate online.
That's what I was gonna ask you, so will we get those sales potentially?
Yeah,
if we do that?
absolutely,
Okay.
because, I must have gotten about 40 or 50 calls out of Syracuse alone, and they send me a photograph, and I go, well, it's not even worth looking at, just don't bother.
Right, but they haven't been charged, and that they're costing you folks money.
But I'll say send $5 donation to, and I'll give a web address, and you can, I'm not sure how much you collect, but it could be significant in some cases.
Well, I'm thinking of those of us who might like to have people who are interested from out of the area who can't attend. So if we could somehow link that in, that would be,
It could be a good fundraiser, because we look at photographs on the internet all day long, and so it's not a big
Yeah.
deal not to see the object. We do a disclaimer saying, based on what I'm looking at here. It's like,
And just personal, do you have someone who does period clothing or furs that comes in?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Just on a personal.
Okay, Jason, that was Jason's suggestion for tonight.
Funny you mention that. We did one on Long Island at a synagogue this fall, and a woman came in with a full suit of clothes that President John Adams wore.
yeah, that's funny.
Well, we
All
have
right.
some family furs for that are over 100 plus.
Furs,
Yeah. So,
that they're 100 years old. That's usually not a good sign. They usually dry out.
no, they were well preserved.
Well preserved.
Yeah. So I'm just on a personal level.
Okay, thank you so much, thank you
Well,
for
thank you kindly for
listening to
having us
our
over.
teacher as well, so I hope you got something out of that.
That was very interesting. I thought it was incredible.
Okay, so who's going to contact me that?
It'll be either Tricia or myself, so we'll continue to be the point.
But you need my, I didn't bring a card with me.
I have, she has your information, I have your address and that
And you have
stuff,
my cell
so-
number too?
Yeah,
And
she
I'll
had
take
it,
you over
yes.
to the multi-purpose room and show them the space.
And
All things
I'll send you off with a
That's right.
3-pager of all the details, and then if you look through, if we missed something, you can ask questions. or-
Please keep the 16th open, because we're fairly
We're
certain
committed to this.
that,
We think this
yeah,
is
we're fairly
fantastic.
certain that
So,
there
yeah.
won't be any
Okay.
issues, so we'll get that done as quickly as possible.
If you want to write down Diana Page Jordan. She's the director of the Jefferson County Historical Society in Watertown, and that was one of our last ones, and so speak to her.
Okay.
And it'll have her phone number and her email address.
Thank you so much for your
All right,
time.
thank you so much for being so patient.
Elevator
Some
picture?
other things.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now we have the student council here to talk about the
Thank you.
student
Store.
store.
Yes. Hello.
Can you give your names again? I'm sorry.
Yes. Okay.
I'm Jenny.
And we're the person.
Yes, I remember that part. Sorry.
Okay, so we would like to start a school store in Kent Valley.
Jenny came up with the idea a while ago. Decided to
Implement it, yeah.
finally implement it.
So what we kind of need is just a loan or money. Dollars, yes, to start up. The idea is we'll have a cart that we already have.
There's those roller carts that are outside the door. You've seen them around. Giving us one, we're planning on putting either drawers or shelves into them just to provide more storage space. That's where we keep everything. And we also have like a lock box for the money and receipt.
So we're going to hopefully start off on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we think. Before school, there's kind of a half-hour period when the kids are here, but the classes haven't started yet. Right then and during lunches.
Both times we also have to be in the multi-purpose room, because that's where one is.
And student government representatives have agreed to kind of, as we're just getting it started, run it. So we have an account on Walmart.com, just because they ship it directly to our school instead of us going physically to the store multiple times a year. So we have an account with them where we can keep track of what we've bought in the past. So we have a list so far. So what we want to do is have certain products go, the funds for 3 weeks maybe, for all pens and pencils will go to Key Club, or
Yeah,
Service
just so
Club.
that we can get some interaction with other clubs. So like if the Service Club wants to sell their 80 water bottles, they could.
Or if there's a crowd fundraiser and they need money, they can come to us and ask if they can get the profits from certain items for a couple of weeks.
So are these personalized items that you're intending to sell?
Well, we're starting off with just basic school supplies and snacks. So we have like pens and pencils, notebooks. We've got whiteboard markers.
And the research is for teachers because they're constantly running out.
Right.
You're gonna charge the teachers for markers?
Yup, not a problem. I'll do that.
We have
Shoes.
snacks.
There's no tissues. You have to go to the bathroom and get toilet paper.
That's a great
I think
idea.
That's a great idea. That's.
It's the little packs of,
That's great.
So, we can sell snacks as long as they aren't the same ones that, they're selling in the
Okay.
cafeteria area.
And there also would be during lunch and not all at school.
Okay.
So, in addition to the things that we've collected on Walmart.com, we have a receipt book. So we can keep copies physically, and there's carbon copies of the people who buy them. So if you buy something, we can give you a copy and keep a copy. And we're planning to keep a spreadsheet online that the person who's the student government representative will keep track of everything. And like you said, if it goes to a certain fundraiser or a club, they can keep track of the money's going there and how much. And then that'll give us a way to keep inventory, and if we continue this, it'll give us an idea of how much of a certain item is bought. And so if when we go back to Walmart.com, we can say, oh, we need more pencils and pens, or we don't want to continue selling granola bars anymore. So far, we have started.
Yeah, our initial purchase is like $104 and like 67 cents. So we round it up to make life simple. So currently it's just $105. The shipping is free if you have over $50 worth of purchases, which we do. And Mr. Niedermeyer, when we were talking about how we would give and get money and keep it, we would, he suggested a prepaid maybe gift card or credit card that we could use to buy things online, and we can take the profits and put it onto that card also. And then
So
probably keep it.
Yeah, so we probably wouldn't keep the money all there, we just keep it
Yeah.
up so that they can make the online purchases, because it's a pain buying things on. You don't have some kind of credit card.
Yeah.
So,
So like a Walmart debit, or one of their Walmart cards, is that?
Like a vanilla card?
yeah,
or
something like
vanilla's-
that,
Okay.
a vanilla card or a
Okay.
Walmart gift card.
I have a question for you girls. So I know we have trust, respect, and responsibility, but in any cash business, you need some checks and balances. Have you thought about how that's going to work when you're handling cash?
And in terms of keeping the money safe,
Or,
making
like,
sure that
people who
things
are
are
selling.
accounted for properly.
Inventory type.
yeah, that's where we're hoping that the spreadsheet will come in. We can keep track of initially how much product we have, and then subtract from that and keep track of how many of a specific item we sold and how much we've made based on that item, and how much we have in the lockbox after we sell Tuesday, how much we have in the lockbox, and how much is deposited. I think Mr. Irwin was willing to work with us. He works with Kevin.
So I think that's the traditional check, the first level check. So you have to, it's called cashing out the register, right? So
Yes.
you make sure that the balance that's in the lockbox matches what you supposedly sold, and that has to reconcile on the spreadsheet. And that has to be done each time you run the store, because otherwise you can't figure who shipped, something
Right.
wrong, right? So I think just making sure at least that much is there.
I think that the other thing that would be good to do would be to have a student count it with an adult present,
There should be someone else, yeah.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you want to put the overage, I mean, I could see keeping a small amount in the lockbox to be able to have like petty cash to change. But the bulk of it, we do have a drop safe.
Yeah, the sir was telling us about that.
So you can use the drop safe for the extra money.
And then sort of a standing policy that says each time you have more than $50, you're gonna go in excess of whatever you want to have, that gets deposited onto the restocked onto the right? So it's,
Out of curiosity, did you look at other vendors to buy stuff? Just because of some social issues with Walmart, I'm wondering, did you look into other places? Well, I know the school is very heavily, social issues are,
I hear you.
and
Yes.
so it does, I'm just wondering if you looked into other sources that were more,
Looked at like Staples for school supplies.
I think
Oh,
just
they're
for this
horrible.
initial purchase, it was
Yeah.
easier for us to just get one
And cheaper.
bulk purchase as opposed to later when we go back.
I have to say, I would prefer Target over Walmart, just if you're gonna go with a large box store, because they have most of the same services. I'm guessing they also ship for free at, a certain.
I think they
amount.
do, actually.
Yeah, I mean, eventually it'd be great if you use a local business, and price it so to make sure that they're reasonably competitive. Of course, that's where Walmart really, stands
Right.
out. So there's trade-offs, but you're probably dealing with enough, sorry to say, but markup in this kind of, field that getting the lowest possible price doesn't have to be the priority, right? It's a fundraiser anyways, you're making enough margin off of it, so the cost difference isn't going to be a make or break whether this business actually takes off.
Yeah,
So
okay.
So student government is really using this as a venue to help other service clubs. Is that
Yeah.
fair to speak?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's-
so, just when we were looking at other projects, we ended up asking Mr. Irwin like how much money we had in the student government bank account, and I think it was like $120 or something.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what it's always been.
Which we have to make sure we have for like next year. So.
Yeah, and also if there was like a group of co-presidents or president, vice president who wanted to do something really big, it'd be good for them to have money for that, and we're hoping that this would help to just increase the money amount.
I think there's the option in this too, to, as they build up a little capital and buy some bigger things, do some more things in the store, or PAC wants to sell some apparel things.
Yeah,
They build up inventory and sell it through the store as that's possible. I think people just get tired of big sales.
Yeah.
I don't get tired of big sales.
No, yeah.
but the apparel, we could definitely work in tandem, because our apparel, the company that I'm working with, we don't have to, you can open up the apparel like 4 times a year, potentially, for 2 weeks. It's a really low effort, and just something you want. Eventually, we could talk and work with the woman at Wicked Smart Apparel.
Because you don't need inventory, you don't need money for that.
No.
You just order it
I mean,
online.
we could have some inventory so they
Well,
could
that's what I was
feel it.
thinking, we could just
We could have,
buy 10
right,
jewelry,
exactly.
larges, that kind of a thing.
we did that for another school. It was more like a rack of stuff, so people could see it,
I mean, maybe this would get to the place where we could hand that contact over and they could run the fundraiser.
Yes.
I mean, we did not do it as a fundraiser, right? We did it to just.
Well, I think this time I'm going to do one of them, but we'll talk another
Yeah.
time about
Yeah,
that.
we wanted to do
So,
that.
yeah,
But it surely could evolve into something that
absolutely.
student government could.
Thank you very much for that.
So they're asking for some money.
So,
Is the request for a 105?
Yeah, that's
or
That's
is
what
it-
you requested. And what do they have?
They have, in their account right now, they have $101.25.
So someone's accountable for $4.
Here's the $4.
Yeah.
Can we just do it? Put ones on the table?
So what are you asking that for? Start
105. Sorry.
read.
A loan
Is it a loan or an outright
Right.
donation?
or an outright,
That's
exactly.
It's a request.
Or how good were our presentations?
Gotta read the room.
Yeah, that was one of our options, was using the initial startup
costs we
money
could
that we make to repay you
give
guys.
you guys a certain percentage.
And then we'll-
Oh, we don't need to collect interest.
Well,
Yeah.
So wait a minute, are you making that decision?
I was the vice president, she's the president
You
now.
can start getting meals here.
We're not that mean. But,
Are you seniors? Are we gonna get this money back? Who's accountable?
I'm gonna get all official here.
Okay,
Yeah, we really need
I
to.
move that we fund this fully.
yes.
So everyone,
You
I
second
second it. I second it.
Okay, great. Oh, wait, I'm thinking of
It's a
this.
request that maybe
Yeah, you're supposed to be typing
another
there.
down the road, potentially. Would that be okay? I just, the whole Walmart thing, I understand, but I would love to see if we could, in another iteration, see if we could work with,
And honestly, girls, if we get to the point, very similar to what Chris did with the polo shirts and things, there are other companies out there. Again, yes, I agree with you on the Walmart thing, I'm there too. But there's also companies out there that we could help work with you and find, we could have Tech Valley principals
Right.
and
Yeah,
Tech
Valley
Valley stuff.
So the company I work with does
does
all
all
that,
that.
so
So
we
we
can
might
sit
be
and
able
talk
to-
with them. Yeah, they do
absolutely.
all, they don't just do apparel, they do,
Exactly.
they do everything.
So,
Why don't we
that could
encourage
be
you
not
to
just,
Yeah, that sounds
This
great.
might be.
I know I wasn't
Right.
here, so if this is
So-
doubling up,
Yeah.
Nan's school did run a school store for a better part of 10 years, and I do know the teachers that did it very well. If you guys need a connection, or either where they're getting their stuff or ideas, let me know, and I can make the connection.
And that's apparel, you said?
Everything from lanyards to pencils to
Oh, okay.
pens
So, yeah.
to erasers to
Yeah.
the whole nine
Have you
yards.
done a survey with the kids in the school
Right.
to find out what they would buy?
Yeah.
What they're making the most of, I'm assuming that's what that was.
Granola bars were on that list.
Old snacks.
sure we'll-
Oh, yeah, and there were snacks, so we were
No,
trying to like
don't forget,
snacks
don't
that
forget.
teachers would want.
Yeah, we
Oh,
heard
my
the
God.
snack issue.
Okay.
Good call on the
Okay,
snacks.
excellent.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor.
Okay.
I second it.
I
Yeah,
seconded
I already
it,
got that
yeah.
down.
She motioned it, I seconded it.
And
Everyone
You have to
else?
call the vote, because you're.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris says yes.
Yeah.
Ryan says yes, Chris says yes, Ray says yes.
Oh, look, it's enough.
Unanimous.
It's unanimous. You're
Unanimous.
approved.
Yay, you got your money.
But if you want, Chris, reach out and I can give you my contact, and we try to sit down and,
I can send you her email address.
Yeah.
Reach out to me.
I'm Hannah's mom.
I can do that, I can get that.
Also,
I'll give him yours.
when you talk to Mr.
Yeah.
Irwin about setting it up,
Mhm.
you wanna ask him and you wanna decide if you wanna commingle this with the student compliment funds, or if you want a separate line item. You wanna, I think a separate line item would be better.
I think
it's
right.
Yeah,
Just-
I
You can
Right,
track
yeah.
the progress.
Yeah.
You can transfer funds.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
So then you can see the profitability of the store.
Right.
And transfer
That
into,
was-
yeah.
All commingled.
Okay, we're just trying to make it easier for
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for the.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Nice job.
You're out there?
Yeah, we can send her.
All right, so everybody, we have one more student who wanted to talk to us briefly. She said she needed 5 minutes. And then we haven't gotten much of an update from Mr. Niedermeyer yet. And we do have to talk about, if for nothing else, we have to talk about, we have another student event coming up in a month that
Yes,
we
we do.
have to plan
Yeah.
as quickly as we can, because we're already
Us
getting close
plan?
to 7.
We even have a date, right?
Ryan, when is this robot competition?
It
Like,
is,
when's the date? Because I've been asking my son for 3 weeks and he still hasn't given it to me.
the two important dates are we must bag, tag, and finish and build the robot by
Thank
1
you,
week
girls.
from
Thank you.
Tuesday.
Okay.
That is the nightmare day. The competition date is the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, that holds the week of March, I think it's 16th or 17th, whichever week that
Okay.
starts out.
Okay.
I was just looking at
I'll look it up.
it's that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so either starting the 16th or starting the 17th.
March.
18th,
March.
19th, and 18th,
So 17, 18, 19.
18, 19.
Thursday, 17, 18, 19.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Okay, thank you.
There's going to be more information coming out. There's a social now and well, I don't know.
Excellent. Okay.
Very long email came.
Thank you. Kira, you have the floor.
Okay.
Please tell us why you are here and go for it.
Well, my name is Kira. I'm the producer of this year's play, and on behalf of our cast and crew, we'd like to give you guys a community involvement letter. And the community involvement letter is kind of it explains about Tech Valley for the outside community members that don't know much about the school. But it's basically like how we're raising funds for this year's production. And one of our like biggest, the reasons why we're fundraising is because since we don't have a theater here, we rent a space at UAlbany, and those expenses are quite a bit of money. So we are focusing on fundraising, and we would like to present this to you guys. And on the back, it has more details about like the different levels of sponsorships and advertisements. So we would really like your help. So we'd like to give this to you guys. Okay, thank you.
What are the levels of sponsorship?
There's for the sponsorships, there's a gold, silver, and bronze, and then we have playbill advertisements. So like the sponsorships, like their like logo will go like on all of our promotional stuff, like our playbill and flyers and tickets. And then the playbill advertisements, there's 4 different sizes for those, and there's 4 different prices.
Now, let's say any of our students who might want to use this letter, or any of us, are you opposed if we, or they put their name, attach their name to it, you know, if we send it off to our companies, so there's a personal connection, and they may not know you, but they'll know Hannah Boyd, or, you know, whoever, so.
Yeah, we asked all of our like cast and like our stage crew members to get like a few, like 2 to 3 of these, and we send out this letter, and yeah, it's definitely, you can personalize it for like, if like you want to give it to like your parents.
Can you also, I mean, can you send that to us electronically?
Yeah, that would be great.
You have my email, because you reached out to me today. If you could do that, and then I can send it
That
to
would be great.
everyone.
We'd like to send it off to our, but it would probably make more sense when they see like Hannah Boyd as opposed to, you know.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So.
What are the sponsorship levels?
We have our gold sponsor, which is $250, which is announced as our gold sponsor at each of the performances, and it has the logo on all of our promotional stuff, and then 2 pages. And then it goes to silver, which is $125 announced, and then 1 logo, 1 page, then their logo, and then bronze, $100. They have their logo on all our stuff, and 1 half page.
Did we send this to the Business Alliance? Okay.
And our foundation.
Okay.
Jim, can we ask for more money, or is there a reason, well, we can only, if we want to send it to companies, can we ask for a larger donation, or we can't? Is there any reason?
I think we can give whatever you want.
I didn't know if there was some, you never know what there is, so I just wanted to know, like, if we sent a letter and asked for $500 on behalf, is that okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Well, do any of you guys know about any? I mean, is that okay?
No, when you do stuff like this, companies just try to make so the advertising piece of it, it's a, you know, the gold sponsor is like a $200 value.
No, I know that. I didn't know if there's something regarding,
No, there's not.
you know, legal issues or accounting issues that, you know.
Most of the time, any school organization you want to give money to is very happy to accept it.
Yeah.
How much are the
Just all that,
advertisement
like,
rates?
we're reaching out to like Mr. Church, sorry. And he's been like our liaison between our board and Business Alliance, and basically a lot of the people who are donating money, so any like logistical questions are probably answered by him as well.
So what is your total fundraising goal?
The stage costs $1,200. I mean, our cast and crew have their individual ones due February 24th. So, I mean, we're kind of like not sure yet how much, but yeah, we've been reaching out. We kind of got a little response from our Business Alliance, but that's kind of what we've been doing is like cold calls and other stuff.
Well, I mean, for the Business Alliance standpoint, and I can talk to Mr. Church as well, I mean, aside from him announcing it at the meeting.
Sent out that letter.
Yeah, he sent it out early January, and he's sending it out again.
Okay, so sending it out again.
I think he was surprised at the lack of response.
Because Miriam
I think it
is
might
on
have
the
been-
Business
I think
Alliance,
he
so
might
she would
have-
have gotten it.
I don't
People
even,
don't open it.
Coffee.
yeah,
You can get
I
lost,
mean-
especially in January.
yeah.
But definitely.
You may
Okay.
want
I'll
to
look for it again.
work with Mr. Church and give a personal introduction to the attachment.
He did actually.
He did, okay.
He sent out an email just regarding that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just
but I think it was like, read this attachment about the play.
So you could have
So
talked to him, right?
I think we need to redo it and say what it is.
Kira, how much are the advertising?
The advertisements,
For half for the page?
for the 1-page one, it's 65, half page 35. A business card size is 20, and then 1 line, like, the job as a group is like $10.
We could maybe attach that to, you know,
Yes.
Facebook
You know, I was asking that because, as I recall, the PAC did one of the ads last year.
Yes.
So I would suggest we go ahead and take the full page out.
Or did we want to do a sponsorship?
Or do we want to do a sponsorship? We
Where
need
was
to
the
talk
money,
about that.
how much did we spend last year?
I think we have
I
some
think we
time to
didn't
talk
have
about
that.
it.
Yeah,
We'll talk about it.
please,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I will send this to you digitally and.
Thank you. Very good, awesome.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
And good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Break a leg.
I know, right?
Why did they say that in theater?
This is supposed to be bad enough to say good luck.
Ah.
I read the whole
Okay.
history.
It's
There's a history behind it too.
There
I
is.
can't
I can't
remember.
remember.
Yes.
Too many years doing the
Yes.
design hands, like.
I think it's your turn.
Okay, so,
Fast.
yeah. So,
No pressure.
For tomorrow.
we're in the middle of I-term, actually, we're almost at the end of I-term, and we've had a lot of successful experiences, juniors and seniors out on placements, and then, we did have a snow day, so we had to cut the Paideas in half, so we did Paideas yesterday afternoon. We had a lot of good, people come to the exposings, a lot of funny words to say, and so, I think that was a really great experience for students.
How was your experience, just experiencing it for the
It
first time?
was pretty good, yeah. So there's definitely some things that I want to address in terms of like the logistics and time and how many speakers we have and how many field trips we go on, how we arrange the trips to some of the I-term places. I think we can make a lot of that stuff more
Efficient?
efficient. But you know, my experience so far has been pretty good. There's been a lot of people who have gone to great places. I know that the field trips were pretty successful. Even people who didn't want to go to the field trip that they went on, freshmen and sophomores, I heard some good things from those places. They didn't always get their first choice. Yeah, so I would have liked to see the whole Paideia schedule because that was a day-long thing that we had planned. And, but what we had was really good. So the one thing that's weird to me is the 3-year. I can't get used to the 3-week break in between the end of semester 1 and the beginning of semester 2. And that's a little hard to deal with.
It's not really a break.
I know it's not a break for them, but it's weird for me because regular classes aren't in session.
Right.
Yeah, I know the boys, they went to the Arsenal today, voted for the
Yeah.
Arsenal, and they were chit-chatting it up in the car when I was taking food.
Yeah.
What did you like the most? What did you like the most?
Yeah, Tim's been in there for the last 2 weeks and
Have
it's,
a student, maybe a little group to
To talk about it?
talk about it.
Yeah,
Because I think there's some valuable
we have a
feedback.
survey that's actually,
Right.
I think I scheduled it to go out today, tomorrow or something, for students to give written feedback. But I would welcome that, to have kids talk about their experience. But there's some places too, some business partners that I think really want to go above and beyond to give kids a good experience. I think that there are, obviously some things that weren't as exciting as others, but
What was good is at least I heard, is the people who came in and spoke with some of the kids.
the exposing.
Symposiums, yeah, I don't like, the word is just,
I don't like
I'm sorry. And I won't.
I have a hard time with it.
Anyway, but what I did hear was that Hannah had said she's like, we wanted to talk to some of them and we just didn't have that
There
opportunity.
wasn't a lot of time.
Yeah, but they, it was much dreaded in my home, and yet it became a really overall positive thing. So,
Okay.
yeah, I have to say it was not met with such excitement this year, and
Okay.
yeah, so.
And I would say my experience has been that it's been a pleasure for me going into the 5th year now, really watching it evolve into what it's become,
Good.
given where it was.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's nice.
I agree that every child's experience is very different given what they do and where they go, but each year it seems to just evolve into something really fantastic.
What was interesting was last year, the feedback Jack had was that it was like too much time.
Yeah.
But this year, he just got done saying to me that he wished he had a little bit more time.
what is
This
he
is
now?
1 week and 2
Junior?
years.
That's usually
Ten.
over.
10, so, yeah.
So freshman,
So
too much.
next year he'll get a whole nother.
Right,
Right.
and so freshman was too much, sophomore, I need a little more. Want a
I love
little more.
DIY next year.
Yeah,
so
Exactly,
that's more
and that's, yeah.
And Jim, what's some of the old timers, whatever, so from the last time, what we're saying is they do miss the original model, having a full, so even the freshmen had, placement, whatever, experiences. I'm guessing it's just not practical, right? Just lining up that many placements and everything.
Transportation, logistics.
Right,
I
right.
can imagine.
But,
Just the academic break is challenging, I know.
I had this graphic, I should have shown you, because I presented to the operations board of all the different people and places and buses that we had to contact in order to make this happen.
Yeah.
And it's not so much that people aren't willing, it's you also have to keep all those plates spinning from the time that you asked until the time that iTerm started. I mean, we had cancellations up until like the Friday before iTerm that we were scrambling to like resolve. And it's really hard because it's like you have to just keep people going or else they lose track of it because they're busy.
Right.
And then also the buses are just we have a whole bunch of bus companies and some of the placements can get really expensive.
Yeah.
So to do all to send everybody out, I think that's very expensive.
I know Tim's with Gary over at Merrick, and the two of them share his car, go back and forth. And I know as a parent, that was something that I need to make sure their parent is aware that the son is in, and then you probably have the same concern, make sure everybody's aware. And so the logistics of this are not simple by any stretch. But I think it's, when you get to junior and senior year, that maybe becomes an option for someone, maybe makes it easier. Exactly. But yeah, I can't imagine doing this all the way 9 up.
It's also hard to, Sage experiences too. It's hard to get into some places the kids want to get into when they're really young.
Yeah.
He had to be 16. He's gonna be 16, so he was.
He just missed it.
Yeah, they would have welcomed him. He wanted to go to the Wadsworth.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. But, I mean, as they get older, right, they've hopefully, at least looked at the option as to what they want to do by the time they're juniors and seniors.
Yes, I hope so. Yeah, I think it's really valuable to experience things that you don't want to do early on.
Absolutely.
And especially, there were some people going on trips yesterday who were kind of grumbly, and I sort of took them to task by saying, these people are giving you their time, and you don't know. And then the same kids I checked in with this morning, they're like, "You're right." The ag markets trip.
Yeah.
Like, I want to go to this. I want to do this.
Yeah.
You went and thought it was cool.
I had the same experience as junior year with the paper mills. I don't want a paper mill. I want a paper mill.
That's cool.
Yeah, one thing that I think it might be possible to do is to encourage the sophomores to go ahead and find things if they can, for which they can find their own transportation. So, like someone like Seiji, if he had been pushed just enough, there's both stuff in Troy as well as stuff at RPI. That he had neuroscience on his mind, so he wasn't going to go outside that mode. But and that or a note to the parents, because I could easily set something up, but I didn't know the timing, and so
Yeah, that was
DIYs
exactly.
for the 10th graders.
Yeah.
You're talking about?
Well, I sort of know. Yeah.
I don't know.
Because it's an option, right? Because he was talking about trying
It
to
is an
get
option.
somewhere. Yeah.
I don't know that it's a great option.
Well, so that's a curriculum choice. So
For 10th graders. I know that it was an option to have even sophomores do DIYs, and
yeah,
I don't know that they're ready for it, and I also think that the stuff that they do in-house is important for them too.
Great.
I think passion development, I use the word passion, just let them start to find out what they're passionate about and interested in, and that's what I think the underclassmen really need, so that exposes them.
At the same time, I think you have a very strong point to know what they don't like.
Yeah.
But you never
I think
know, we've
that's
had this
more
discussion, and you don't know you don't want something until you've been exposed to it.
Right, but
And sometimes
The
you really have to-
exposures are a great place
Right.
to do.
Exactly, and that's why it's so important.
And
to
even the
have those
cookie cutter,
underclassmen.
we're all going to Wadsworth, we're all going to, some of those, they're not going to hit every kid. And that's a good thing just as much as it is
Yeah.
for those that do want it.
Yeah.
And I think that's also just as invaluable.
And that's, yeah, exactly, yeah.
So also in the middle of that, we had a pretty successful Chinese exchange with a bunch of Chinese students, and they actually came here one day and we worked with them on projects. So I walked them through a mini project. So we did all the parts of the project that we usually do here with our projects, and they made like cool spaghetti towers first, and then they used existing technology to solve a current world problem. And they were great, and I made them all present. So they all presented in English. And they really liked it, and they told the Commissioner of Education the next day that they liked that part the best, because they got to do something. They said, the other schools, it was just books. They're not unlike American teenagers, in that also they were on their phones the entire time. You had to be cajoled to get off their phones. Yeah, so they were great. It was really fun, and I hope to start working with Dr. Chen on a trip to China for next year for our kids. I would really like to keep that every other year, have them come and have us go. But we'll see where that goes.
Is the Haiti still an option? For
Well,
schools?
so it's usually this week, this coming break week.
Yeah.
Leah Penniman usually has the contact in Haiti, and she usually goes, and so her daughter's is having her bat mitzvah this week, and so she wasn't able to go.
But I think it was more than that, it was the
Government, wasn't
political
it?
issues.
The unrest.
Well, I think she still would have had an opportunity to do something.
So it hasn't disappeared from our program.
And they also did do a project. They did a themed project just last, and they're doing some collecting out there for teenagers. So that relationship has gone. The kids were disappointed too with that. I was trying to get something together for them during this week, but I'm not going to be here this week but we were talking at Habitat for Humanity about doing something over the upcoming break. They have an option for kids who are sticking around to do something. That might be
I'd be willing to help you out with that.
okay.
That sounds very well.
Next week, dude.
Next week? Yeah.
Welcome. Yeah, I had that earlier today. Yeah.
That wasn't my first thought. My first thought was in the Fab Lab going, how that?
I wanted to also tell you that our info sessions are done, and they were pretty successful. The ones in Hudson and Schoharie were not very well attended. I guess they were better attended than in the past. That was like 10 kids. And the ones here were packed, so every time we had an info session, it was packed.
Wow.
We had about 125 kids, so with their parents and everything, there were tons of people every time we had an info session. 125 kids came. Not all those kids were from schools that currently participate, so this is the graphic on that. So, but 79% were from current Tech Valley participating schools. However, there are 3 new schools that are going to be participating that I know of now, and that's Middleburg and Cohoes and Niskayuna are going to participate next year.
Is?
Yeah, Niskayuna's
Yeah.
they're going to send some
Wow.
they're going to send some 9th graders and also put a 10th grader on a waiting list. We're going to try to get a waiting list of 10th graders, because even though the current class has about 40 kids in it, there's bound to be people who.
And it's current 10th grade?
No, current 9th grade.
Okay, okay.
Also, I've been doing some work with John Galsky about the capacity of the building, trying to figure out what that actually is, and we think it might actually, depending on how we configure things, might be slightly more than we're gauged, but we do some multiple sections of stuff.
And student selection is going to be, is it?
So this is the CAP region Questar 3 breakdown.
Doesn't that one be even then?
It was pretty even, but the one thing that skews it a little bit, you can see on this, is that there are a lot of people from Guilderland and Shen.
Mm-hmm.
And Guilderland and Shen only send 1 student.
Yeah.
So that kind of skewed it a little bit. So we're going to talk to the folks at Guilderland.
So we don't see Greenville.
So this is the CAP region.
Oh,
This is
I was
Questar.
getting a little concerned.
But we're going to talk to the superintendent at Guilderland if we could get back from break about some other things. One of the things is food service. I'm really, just so that you guys know, I'm disappointed with food service here. I'm disappointed in the cost of food service, and I'm disappointed that also we don't take it. We can't get reimbursed for free reduced price lunch kits. So Tech Valley pays for those students to get free reduced price lunch.
Really? Wow.
Because
Yeah.
because the vendor that we use for food service here on campus is not a vendor that does free reduced price lunch.
No, they're not
They're
a
not federal
federal,
program.
yeah, they're not a federal program.
So there's two solutions to that. One solution is that we become approved free federal program. That's it's not hard to become one, but it's hard. There's a lot of regulations.
Mhm.
And the woman that I talked to said that we're bound to screw something up and get the money taken back. And then what she recommended is to look for another school partner. And Gilderland's the closest school partner that we can think of where they would just take us on to be the food service vendor. Now, the obstacle to that is that it's actually written into our lease that we use the current vendor that we're using.
Wow.
So we're working on that piece too. But it's
On
nothing.
this lease sucks. I'm just gonna
But
put
the
it out
federal
there.
regulations, I did that on site-based management on Long Island, it is.
I mean, Greenville opted out of it because they're like, forget it, it's too
It
complicated
is,
for us.
I will tell you, sitting there, I was on that subcommittee, it is just a nightmare, it is.
But, so this is the Questar folks, and I don't, like some schools like Lansingburg, they're not gonna send anybody. There were a bunch of people from Albany City, and I just went back and forth with them tonight. And
These are the people that were at the.
thing, yeah, so we really need to see
Right.
the comparison of that,
Right.
the actual, number of students per year.
number of students, oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
How many
actual
you send?
versus, yeah.
Well, I just actually asked for that, how many they're gonna send this year, because I know that that's changing a little bit in certain
It changes
districts. Like Manans, it's probably gonna change a little bit, and Whitesdale, because John is gonna be targeting those schools. But I think, things are doing pretty well. I feel pretty good about the number of students who are gonna apply, but the applications aren't due until the 26th of February. So this is another John project, which I thought was pretty interesting. So what he did was he took take the algebra exam, for example. So he took the kids who took the algebra exam here, figured out which district they're from, and then figured out a composite based on the results of the Regents exams from those districts, and compared our kids to the percentage, that composite of the kids from the home districts.
Oh, wow.
And what he
See
found
that?
is that,
It's not.
so it's not as gloomy as it's first advertised. And in fact, he just put the 2015 ones together, and you can see that in a couple of areas where the other schools slipped, we're actually still maintaining. And I think one of the reasons for that is because that shows the Common Core implementation in algebra, ELA, and geometry's not on there for some reason. But
No, it's really for John.
yeah, I think he's just doing the five required
Yeah.
regions.
That global is,
I thought he did a geometry one, but it just might not be here.
He-
I thought I showed that to the other, the business.
I think he did, but I think that he's focusing on the ones that you need to have.
Yeah, right.
To get a Regents diploma. So, so these are positive.
So, I'm sorry, what is the comparison again? All Tech Valley students versus all students in the?
The Tech
They're
Valley
all
kids who took the
Yeah.
exam, and so say 5 kids from Averill Park took the exam, he would have, and 1 kid from Greenville took the exam,
Yeah.
he weighted that.
So there's
You took
5,
the
you take
score.
the 5 for
Yep.
Averill Park, 1 for
And,
Greenville.
and like for Manans, what he did too is he didn't take Troy,
Right.
he took Gilderland, or no, he took
The shakers.
all those little districts that don't have high schools. So Wynottsville and
Wynottsville,
Manans.
yeah.
So we're not
He took
necessarily.
the most
larger
favorable.
group,
So just look at this very quickly. So we're not necessarily excelling in the 85 and above, but we're exceeding most of those, at least the weighted average for the passing rate, right?
Well,
So if you look at the passing, we're pretty
Yeah.
consistently above.
Yeah, it depends on where you're looking at too.
Yeah.
For like if you look at
We're ahead in
history,
some,
Yeah,
history,
we're
we're
ahead.
ahead.
I mean, plus or minus
there's-
1% I toss.
You're gonna get subject variability in a single school study like this, just because the different teachers will teach in different ways, whereas you're looking at aggregated data for the district data, so that's a much bigger data set, so those numbers are gonna more average out, so. Overall, it looks great.
Okay, so I wanted to share that with you too, and that's it.
That's good.
Can I ask you one question about
Sure.
the prior Do you have any schools that have reduced their number of kids for next year that you know of?
I don't know anything like that yet. I just sent out a survey, just like before the meeting to counselors to say how many you're looking at supporting for next year. I'm sure that's probably going to happen in some cases, because there's, like Shen, for example, they do one a year, and they sent twins. One of them was Savannah, and then they're both graduating, so they're only going to send one to replace those two. So I don't know. Different schools decide to do different. Not really sure. But some schools are really excited. Like Middleburg called me and said that their superintendent just came in and said it was approved at a board meeting that they were going to send somebody to Tech Valley, but all the kids missed the info session. So I'm going to go out to Middleburg when we come back and do an info session during the day there. I'm having another handful of kids the day before the applications review. I'm having them come up, and I'm doing a little mini info session for them. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. So people seem to be really interested, and they seem to be responding really well to the info sessions. The people who come are pretty interesting. There's two people from State Ed came, and who have kids that are coming through school and want to come here. There's the new vice president of Sweet Albany. He's moving from Baltimore here, and he brought his daughter up here, but they're most likely going to move in East Greenbush, that does not send. But he was asking me, like, he was calling me and saying, does the school district send? My realtor's showing me this place. What about this school district?
You want to guarantee seats or living minutes?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Well, now he's got an apartment. His family hasn't joined him yet. And he chose to get the apartment in Albany City. Well, that was a mistake. Could have gotten your apartment. You just could have established residency in one of these places.
Can you self-pay? Can they self?
No.
That's what I was thinking of, yeah.
I had no idea. That's why we moved to Manans. Well, my sister was there, but it was the only reason we came up here.
So is there a reason that there couldn't be
Right.
4 or 5 spots here? Because I do remember last year, you were in the info session with me, and a girl was so excited about coming here, and her school didn't participate. So is there a mechanism by way you could reserve 5 slots, but have tuition like any other out-of-district student would pay?
It's a POSI's program, right? She's basically saying just pay tuition to come here.
Is there a reason why people can't pay tuition to come here?
Yeah, I'm not saying open it up entirely, but say you have 5 slots per class.
No, it's a public school. So.
Yeah, it's,
But you
it's,
pay- you pay to go to
the
another
legislation,
school.
it's all about the legislation that found
I
the school.
can tell you it's even worse than that. Manans used to allow pay-in to the Manans district
Exactly.
15 years ago.
No, but other districts do this.
Yeah.
Right, but the problem is it became a legislative burden in that you can only charge them certain amounts,
Yes.
but you have to take the burden of everything else anyway.
It's,
So you would never make up for what you
Yeah.
actually spend.
Yeah.
it's usually the case that when superintendents don't like to do the tuition thing, they'll usually figure out some kind of trade. You take this kid if I give you a kid in 2 years, or something like that, because it's such a pain to manage that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But it's not something that's totally off the table for us. You never know. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
Have a good night.
Thank you so much, Jim.
They're run up.
Yeah, I know.
Bye.
Okay, so Jason Irwin did respond to everyone with his update, so if you didn't get it, check your email.
Sorry.
It wasn't a lot. He wanted to just remind everybody about potentially like putting little ads and things into the yearbook.
Yeah.
And then also talk about the need for PAC to have a debit card, which we've already started the process to do that. So I think he's done.
Do you want to put an ad in as the PAC? Does PAC do that in the yearbook?
I haven't, that I
I
don't
think we
know.
did last year.
We did,
I'm
yeah.
not flipping through, I don't see for either yearbook or the play, I'm not saying we need to do it, because I'm telling you the records are shady.
Well, it could have just been like we slush the money over and
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I'm doing it out of their own account.
I mean, a half page in the yearbook is 25 bucks.
It's so cheap.
Everything
It
she
would be
says
nice
is
on the half, but
Where are we on budget?
And a full page ad is
We're
$65.
spending money right left.
I know, and exactly we are.
Oh, we're gonna make 6,000!
Well, yeah,
Those gentlemen, you see how I always go for the big number?
This is the, let's think about whatever the eggs before they're hatched or something.
Alright, so we're doing the treasury report right now.
Okay.
Yeah, here, let me pass down. I'm typing.
yeah, we know your Jamaican trip is funded through PAC now,
Yeah.
right?
I wish.
When you going to Jamaica? Oh, okay, so she can tell me, like, what the hell?
The president has to go with you.
I should go somewhere.
I like it. Yeah, so just a few notes. We actually didn't really have hardly any activity in January. I just made notes that we transferred that $83 for the TA and that
Oh, yeah.
we seeded the robotics club. So they're new line items. February, we've had lots of activity, lots of cash. I got handed a giant envelope of cash the other night. So that's all in the bank already.
How much? I haven't been following the spreadsheet.
Oh, the
So
cash,
February.
well,
Yeah.
I got Marius, you'll see in the February 2016 deposits where it went to. But basically, the big expense for us in February was Chinese New Year, which wasn't an expense really at all.
And that is
Gonna say, where is
$10.55. That's what. Yes, we made money.
As long as we broke even, I think that's the goal,
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
you know?
Actually, even if we spent something, that's totally fine, but the fact that we netted is fantastic.
I was impressed by that,
Yeah.
and I thought it was a great event, so I don't.
The turnout was fantastic,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
it scared the crap out of me when 3 days earlier we had 20
When
people
she
signed
sent
up.
me-
I was like, come on!
That's the number Loretta gave me.
No, I am totally sure that was right. Students are like,
Last minute.
Last minute.
Turnout, faculty and staff, a little disappointing. What's the deal? You probably have a better read on this. Is this
Yeah, you
typical?
know
Does
what?
not usually?
Let me just, I mean.
It was, no, I was disappointed that.
You know what, I really wasn't. I think
Okay.
they give so much
Yeah,
of themselves
they do.
every
Okay.
other day that it's
The
not
one I was
finding
surprised,
them.
the one I will say I was surprised with, I thought Mr. Niedermeyer
Uh,
might, just because he's
yeah.
more experienced before.
Right.
I would say participation in a few things has surprised me with him, but I think the
But
same
he
thing.
does so many
Yeah,
other things,
family,
like.
Right, but I just didn't know the history. I mean,
Yeah,
they
Frankly,
typically
we were,
don't.
that is our capacity now for this, now we.
And that's, I was just gonna say, are we going to now, like, have to cap it eventually?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we will.
Yes,
I
that
think
was,
you're
I mean, we
right.
had literally just enough
Well,
food.
Food, oh,
that was kind of
scary.
ordered, but yeah.
So, yeah, we could use like one more platter of stuff.
One more vegetarian.
I would be curious of the 4 or more, you know, or.
That was my other thing
I brought 5.
Yep.
I paid for
We-
the first.
We paid for
But I'm
everybody.
curious,
Yeah.
you know, for just out of curiosity, like you said, it would just be nice to maybe not charge anymore, but have a more accurate head count than
Yeah.
somebody paying for 4. So then we could say to
Yeah.
Sophia, okay, you know, we need $400 worth of food instead of $350. Not so much to make money, but to have a head
Right.
count,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I was actually, but you know what? Here's the thing. We got, your aunt
Yep.
came and she
My
had a
parents
tour.
came,
I
right.
mean,
Yeah.
that alone, just the, so
Yes.
there was a lot of adults
Yeah.
here
Yeah.
that I thought was
Exactly. Good to do.
fantastic. And
Yeah.
so, and we already know, like, I mean, even next year, you know, we all continue to be part of the PAC. We're gonna be dragging our kids by the ears to come to Chinese New Year
Well,
here again.
yeah.
But at least we know we have a whole new set of freshmen,
Right.
and so you always know that it's probably going to be because that's for them, like
Yeah.
kind of like the
Experience.
first, second,
Agreed.
you know,
Agreed.
event.
I think
So
our kids will phase out. Yeah.
absolutely. We'll make them just work more.
You have lost them
That's
by
true.
junior year.
Yeah.
Well, you're
Yeah.
starting to see.
I mean, I even noticed Kara wasn't even
You
here,
know what?
She was in New York
but she
City
was doing her eye
her.
care.
This might be something we could talk to Ms. Shaw about, because what I was thinking that night was, it was great the students were serving.
Yeah.
It was great that Nick and Jack were hanging at the door letting people in. I would have loved to see some of the kids presenting.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
that would have
we
been
had the
very
Chinese
nice.
Students
Yes.
here for 1 extra day, 2 extra days, they could have presented.
But even our students
Okay.
could do
Yeah.
something.
No, like
in
our
grade.
student doesn't have to, not.
You got the seniors capstone.
No, the art students.
Right,
That's
right, right.
bad,
Right.
that's a bad
I,
idea.
I liked the little video she did was great, but I would,
Yeah.
some of that stuff they could have talked about it,
They could
Yes.
present,
Yeah.
yeah.
And because I would love to see it be PAC funded, PAC helped with students.
Student driven almost.
Yeah, that's what I want
I
to see
agree.
more at events.
I'm sure Michelle would agree. I can tell her person as quiet as she
Oh,
seems,
she's
she likes being in
fantastic.
control.
Oh, yeah.
of
Oh,
it.
oh, yeah.
I think that's part of
Thank God, though.
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, thank God, right? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
and I will say, we had volunteers.
Yes.
I had a couple parents come ahead of time, and I didn't have much food to do. I was like, watch the burners.
Yes.
We don't want to start the place on fire
Yeah.
while I go do this.
Yes.
So, but then we had afterwards,
People
a
were
couple
so
of people
willing
came
to
up and
clean
said,
up.
"Where's Miriam?
Yep.
I'm Lee. Give me a broom." Like
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
It was great.
And that's all we needed was a couple
Yeah.
extra pairs of hands, and so
And everything
I gotta
was cleaned up
say,
by like 7.
it was beautiful. It was
It was
beautiful.
very effortless.
All right,
Maybe the
so-
students produce something like a little video. You know,
Oh, yeah,
that-
ahead of
like they
time.
could have interviewed the 5 Chinese students that came here and we could have seen those videos, and the Tech Valley students could have produced it. That would have been really nice.
Yeah, that would have been.
Or like our Chinese 4 students, maybe they could do, yeah, you know.
Okay, so it looks like the PAC has $2,800 in it?
Yes.
Okay, so
Wow.
can we can afford a yearbook ad and a playbill ad?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Is that, what says up?
Ad or do you want to be a sponsor? Ad or do you want to be a sponsor? That
Like
bumps it
a
up
base
to,
sponsor?
Well,
Like a
even-
$200 sponsor?
even the
Or a
100 would put
$100
us in a,
sponsor?
We get our name on the ticket.
or 125 would,
Ooh.
125 would be silver. That's only $25.
100, 125, or 250?
I'd go 120. I
Yeah,
mean, if we're gonna do 100, we might as well go 120.
I agree.
Okay.
As long as you're comfortable with it, so sure.
It's not my money.
Make a motion, and then we do 125
Okay.
for the play. That's the play, right?
Yes.
Second, any, I, okay. That's approved. And then we have to talk about the yearbook.
Do you want me to do
Who's
the
second?
form for that, or do you want to do it?
I don't want to do
For sure, I think second.
What?
I don't want to do the
We got
form
I second, oh, okay.
for the yearbook.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, what's,
No,
what
wait,
are
that's
our
play,
options
sorry.
for yearbook? I'm sorry.
We're on the back
No,
of
the play was done.
Play's done, I know, I'm just making sure.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm just catching up.
The yearbook is $25 for a half page. That's the most expensive option here.
Can't take a whole page?
15 for a quarter. I guess we could
Probably
do
pay
50
and
and do
a
a
full
full page.
My
Be
only
generous?
thought is that if we're doing 125 for the play and the
Oh, you're probably right.
I think it's a
Trying to-
very, no, you're
Very
right.
good point, very
You
good
know what, my
point.
favorite.
So I would just like to say, maybe we take the 25, because there's always, Jason always comes to us.
That would be all.
Okay.
For more than
We need to
$50.
reserve our money, you're saying.
Okay. You know, all right.
Right, he averages, I think that he likes to average at least 10 yearbooks at the end of the year for board members and or
Okay.
special
They
people.
can't complain, that's all they asked for, so, you know.
And also, the play is exorbitantly expensive. The yearbooks,
Yeah.
lots of the money is coming in from what we pay for the yearbooks.
Right.
That's
I mean, the price is great, and in
That's
years
a good-
past, we've been asked to just supplement.
Yes.
But I don't know if the new method of ordering the supplement will be a thing, but Jason may need help with those extra yearbooks.
Okay, so
And
we're
if
gonna
they're,
stick,
they're $30 a piece regardless of
Right,
who
so,
buys them.
yeah.
so should we stick with the $25 then?
Yes.
Or
And maybe extend to Jason that if he gets to that position,
We could, right.
we can
extend
help?
our
All right,
service.
done.
So we're saying 50 for a
Who's
half
moving,
page.
who's seconding?
Well, it's 25 for a half page.
Somebody
Oh.
move, somebody
It's
second.
pretty cheap, that's what we're
Second.
saying.
Second.
Yeah, go for it.
Third, fourth, fifth.
Done.
So,
And yeah, if you
nine.
do paperwork and all that good
Yeah.
stuff.
I'll just choose.
Did
And
anybody,
vote is,
Anyone you like,
ever,
yes?
unanimous?
Unanimous.
Unanimous, all right, so is that it for the money for now? Yeah, okay. Anybody have any questions, changes, or comments on last month's meeting
I
minutes?
just have one more thing about the money. Has Prof approached any?
Yeah.
I mean, they're putting money in, I just
I
did.
haven't even seen them really talk about the problem. Aside
I
from-
think it's a little bit just, I think people are a little.
It's coming
difficult,
quick, and I'm
yeah.
just usually miss how, maybe Jason next month would say something to us in March, only because it's at the beginning of April, right, middle of April.
Yeah.
And we oftentimes make a pretty substantial donation to that.
Well, last year, they actually just, it wasn't a donation, they were complete,
So we covered that.
we covered it. And because there's no other, where is it gonna go?
Right. Okay, I just wondered if they had approached, but there's been no reach out yet. Okay.
Find out about that, I
Yeah,
guess.
I was just.
Are kids still interested in the prom?
I asked Jack and I was like, so you haven't mentioned prom. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll go.
Somebody else take care of it, I'll
You
go.
wanna hear a teenager side? That's my problem.
I was just wondering.
What do you wanna know?
Like some issues, because it was in April, and then kids
It's on
couldn't
Friday,
stay out
and
of
you can't go, yeah.
school. Is that still the same thing? They can't?
Yeah.
That's kind of the feeling I'm getting. And I think that this class is not as enthusiastic as classes in the past.
Okay.
Well, and I think, Jason made the point, they wanted it earlier because of the yearbook.
Right.
So,
And then they were limited as to where they could go because they
Right.
didn't really,
The budget was very, yeah.
I don't even think budget-wise, I just think
Okay, motion to approve minutes.
they didn't really
All right.
go for it.
Good. let's
So
worry
moved.
about prom next month. There's only so much we can do, right?
You're absolutely
Trying
right.
to solve all Tech Valley problems, 7:30.
Yes, exactly.
Did you move?
No, you move, I second. I second.
There you go.
We're all moving, we're all seconding,
We're
we're all
moving
saying yes.
All the minutes.
All good.
We're good.
Good, that's done. I feel
Really
like the front of the minutes.
Really quickly, next month, our meeting is supposed to be on the 10th.
Yeah.
I have to go to a chamber gala event that night, so I cannot do that night,
This is March.
March. So if we want to, for ease, just the following Thursday, it's the 17th, would that work for everyone? Is that okay?
Isn't that the
Same
robot
time, not here.
competition?
I've been
Yeah.
robot competition, then I'm done.
Oh, yeah, you got a little.
I'll be there.
Okay,
I
but,
wasn't be living on that
I
campus, so.
can do it.
but other than the robot, we'll miss you. We'll be
Is
thinking.
that okay? Or we can move forward one?
But, okay.
I'll send instructions when you can hook up one of your kids' laptops.
It is St. Patrick's Day, in case anybody.
I'll wear my
Oh.
green.
Good.
Can we
Excellent.
go out for some, like?
Okay.
Yeah, that's more the direction I was going in.
Shit, bring it right in, right?
Yeah.
We have to
These
move
are
from
out.
Hey,
the other-
if you guys are bringing it in, I will watch the video.
Yeah, right? All right, good. So that's done.
5:30.
Yeah. And can we do I know we were doing them at 5:15, but everybody seems to be getting here closer to 5:30. Can we just move it to 5:30 to make it easier on everybody?
I'm just gonna be honest, I may have a midterm that following day, and so if I do, you may not see me.
Okay,
I'm
that's
gonna
fine.
be hands down on this, so I don't know when my midterm is.
Okay. That's
I'm
fine.
not gonna lie.
That's okay. Then we're all
Not gonna
volunteers,
lie.
Chris. Chris, we're all volunteers. It's okay. So
I will
we know
do
what we can
better.
do.
I put the date in green. Okay.
Perfect.
Multi-activity night, shall we talk about it?
Yeah, we gotta get that done.
Okay,
It
so
is
let's
20
confirm
minutes
that-
to 8 people.
Yes, so confirm for March 4th, it goes from after school to 7:30 PM, pizza provided, parents may pick up kids at any time. Games will go from 7:30 till 7:30 PM, open mic starts at 5:15 PM.
Hold on. When do games start?
They can just start playing as soon as
School's
school's
over.
out. Yeah,
Okay,
so
right.
and there was already a draft
Right.
flyer, so I think this is the information from there.
Okay.
I think the easiest way to do it is to say that the student groups should sign up with Mike Dinman and volunteer him for it. And then that way they can.
He said he would,
coordinate
he
directly.
said just tell me what I need to do.
Yeah, exactly, so I
so-
think since he's not here, we volunteer him for that.
You're
and I'll
welcome,
check
Mike.
with-
I second it.
Okay, so I will check with him and make sure he's okay with it, but otherwise, and then I think that's the easiest, and the students will write them directly, ask for equipment if they need it. He can think about scheduling, if there's too many, if there's too little, he can just take initiative. Those
So-
students will be free to rehearse between 3 and 5:15 PM, giving them something to do.
Right.
So at 5:15 PM, there's sort of a switch over,
Yeah.
so that it's basically, there's an encouragement for the games kids to go check out the open
Yes.
mic, but the ones who are totally not into that can continue the game or start up a different game.
So are they gonna be bringing their own games? Are we supplying any games? How did?
I think they're
put in
bringing
the
their own
flag?
games. I
Okay.
think that's the easiest. And
And I think that, when I got here on Chinese New Year Day at
They
2:45,
games.
they were already all set up, they
Yeah,
all had
we
different
don't have
tables,
to
and
worry
all
about
sorts of
it.
different,
Yeah.
we had a card game, we chess
Oh,
game,
that's
we
great.
this, we
They're
had
all
everything
bringing
going on.
magic in and
I was
also
like,
they're-
wow,
they're
this is
Well,
what
you can
they're
see a
gonna
couple of
do.
like,
I think
Yeah.
that Will said he had a number and he could bring.
Yeah, and so if anyone wants to bring, yeah, he said that at the last
I
meeting.
didn't
So
know.
I think we're all set, other
Well,
than,
we gotta get the flyer out, we gotta.
yes.
What about food, are we feeding them?
So, right, so we have to have some people to take the lead on it.
So get the
I
flyer
can do
distributed.
I can do the flyer and I can make sure the games part, I'll coordinate
So-
with.
If you send me, I mean, I thought we kind of approved on the flyer
Yeah,
already,
yeah.
so I just need it, and then I can get it on Facebook, I
Okay,
can
so
get
I'll
it
send you that,
to
yep.
Mr. Niedermeyer and Lorinda and Mr. Irwin, so and they can get it out to everybody, just so that we know that. Do we want any type of, we should probably have, we have to have a sign up for the open mic piece of it, or the show piece of it,
I
right?
think, wasn't,
And then
Karen
we also
gonna do
probably
a
need to
form,
know
Google
for
form?
pizza. Because we're just gonna buy pizza from
We do
First
need
Shop
people
again.
to sign up, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's free and we need to know how much for it.
Were we charging them?
I think it was
I
$2.
remember.
I think it's on the flyer.
Was it? Sorry.
Yeah, no,
I just got to a Chinese New Year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Couple
I
bucks.
think, and we just,
Yeah, it was just for the
we
purpose
did,
of,
for whatever reason, we even made money on the silly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you made like $104.
So we charged $2 for the food and the drinks.
Mhm.
That's what we asked
so
for,
that sounds good.
right, $2. And that was more than enough. I mean,
Yeah.
we could probably splurge and get, a head count is important. I mean, I think that I called Price Chopper an hour ahead of time and got 8 pizzas, but if we needed 12 pizzas,
Right.
we might need to give them a little bit
I
more
got the
notice.
flyer open now. It says $2 per student, family member.
That was
Okay.
fine. I think that was
Perfect.
more than sufficient.
Yeah.
And
Can
right now, we do
non-students
have it
come?
as
Sure.
signing it up on, let me talk to Mike, so right now, Jason set up the
Yeah.
Word document or whatever.
Google Form, I think
Doc-
they did.
doc-
Yeah,
yeah.
Google Form.
For people to sign up. I'm just guessing, straight email to Mike. But
He can share that email, that form result as a Google spreadsheet, so he can
Right.
share that out to whomever.
sure.
And I think we
Well,
just want
it's
to
true,
know,
the
we
students
just
know
want to
who
know
else is
by,
performing. That's-
and for food, we just need to know by dismissal that day. What's the
Oh,
head count
really?
gonna be?
Yeah, because what'll happen is, like, for the trivia night that we did, we got here, we knew what the head count was. Actually, we didn't even know, we kind of winged it,
We
'cause
winged it.
remember?
Yeah.
And then we just called, so if we know ahead of time, we can come, call, go get them.
So this isn't $2 at the door, they have to just give,
So it's prepaid $2, right?
what
We
is it?
took it at the door.
Four.
I
So,
mean,
okay, at
We
the door.
we did take it at the door, but we should definitely,
I can list it as handed to Lorinda, or I can list it as pay at the door, which would make more sense.
If you pay at the door, just walk around and $2,
That's what I
$2,
that's what
$2.
I did last time,
Yeah.
that's what we
Stand
did last
everybody's
time,
hand, or we just.
something like that.
Yeah.
I would say, let's just do it at the door.
At the door.
Because I already have it on my calendar to come after school again, because I have that flexibility and I don't mind. So
And
I'll just,
Lorinda does a lot for us.
right, so I'm
Those.
thinking, I'm thinking, I'll
Save
get
it for the
here, I'll be like,
paychecks.
you
Yeah.
staying, you having food, money,
Right,
and I'll just start going around and I get to.
I want my
Teachers
$2.
for summer,
You know what? I have one of those.
And if we get a stamp, that's perfect, because then I can,
Now, the other thing I'm getting
Ship
reading
by
over
date.
his shoulder is that the families are requested to bring snacks and or beverages.
no, they don't need to.
So I want to strike that, because if it's the two, yeah.
I mean,
That,
we did popcorn, we had lemonade, we had water, and the pizzas. So we had
I mean,
snacks.
if they want to bring stuff, I
That's what
can
I was
say
gonna say. I
optional,
mean, right.
feel free
I
to
like the
bring.
idea of optional, people want to bring it, great.
Why not?
If you
Right.
don't,
Yeah, and they just want to pay their $2, we were fine with that too.
I mean,
Okay,
we
right now,
What's the
parents are
number of
requesting to
cans of
send in,
cheese?
so
If
parents may invite
If
it.
we're doing pizza and drinks,
To send
yeah,
in.
just snacks and dessert.
whatever.
Well, it still sounds like it's like a respect.
Okay, so our,
Parents may send, or may.
which is snacks and desserts optional, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Pizza and beverages provided,
provided.
snacks and beverages.
Yeah.
Um,
Donations
We
welcome.
There we
That
go.
donation, yeah.
Donations of snacks and beverages are welcome.
I'm getting this.
Pizza and beverage provided,
Yes,
snacks, desserts.
It really was effortless.
donations welcome.
I mean, they're good kids.
All right, so we're gonna have the
Yeah.
kids stay after school, they're gonna play games, they're gonna do their thing. And
Mike's in
then
charge of
Mike's in
his
charge of
music.
his music stuff. So, but he did say, I remember when we talked last about it, he would wanna know what kids wanted to do, so he could make sure he had the setup or could coordinate with them on
And
what.
Jason
Jason already got
got
that.
this, so
Okay.
it says what equipment.
So wasn't there something?
There is, so
Yeah,
have to have
okay.
them to it.
And
Alright.
just have Jason share it to him, because I think Devin's got it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So, but
I
we
mean,
should,
here, this
we
will go
still
out,
should
but
communicate it
Jason
out,
should send
for
it
sure.
By default, the
Right, in
spreadsheet is
addition
generated.
to what,
You know what?
Facebook?
I think he's able.
You tell him, you tell him.
He'll find us.
Mr. Kara,
Yes,
focus.
sorry.
We were on topic, we were just going
Yeah.
line for a minute.
I know you are. I can just say that I just love getting to know you guys. Like, I've had a lot of fun doing this. Like, I love getting to know you, Sushi,
Thank you.
Ryan, and Chris. And I already knew Tara, and I love working with you.
So, yeah.
But it's fun. Anyway, so can you please
Yes,
coordinate with Mr. Irwin
yes.
and find out how he's communicated this to the children, and then what do we need to communicate to anyone, if there's any more communication we need to do.
Aside from the class liaisons sharing the flyer.
Right.
Yes, okay,
And then can you make sure that the information gets to the class liaisons to share the flyer?
yes, yes.
Okay.
So my concern, not a real concern, but right, given the next week is break, we really only have about 2 weeks to pump this out.
Yeah.
I mean, I can do it every day, on the
I
hour pretty much.
We know how these kids operate. It was 3 days before Chinese New Year, and then we had 100 people. So
Right.
what I would do is,
Wait till the last
let's
week.
wait till, let's wait until,
Yeah,
we should have a planner that says the Monday they come back from vacation, that's when we start communicating the hell
Yeah,
out
we
of
did.
them.
My concern so much isn't the kids, it's just letting the parents know that the kids may
Yes,
actually.
and that's why,
And
that's
we have
on
chaperones,
liaison.
well, we actually have,
So we
there
send
could
it out
be
right
a
away.
after school. Okay.
No, yeah, and you know what, if there are musicians or people who want to perform, I
Alright.
guess we do need to put it out in case they want to put
Yeah.
their stuff
Okay.
together
No,
or
no, no,
something.
we should go ahead and send it
Yeah,
now, it's just, we
never
have to expect that the push happens the last week.
Yes,
When we
right.
tell all of our kids to tell all the other kids,
Right.
hey, this is happening, all you gotta do is just hang out after school, you get to play with each other.
And then I'll
whatever
send an
game you
email
wanna
out
do.
to, I'll just send an email out to the volunteers. I already had a couple of people already say, I'll help with setup or anything you want to
So
tell
if
me
you
you
could
need
write to
to
the
do.
volunteers.
So I'll take care of just communicating out to the
Yeah.
volunteers.
Perfect.
I think that's all we need, right?
Yeah, and I think supplies were good. I brought a huge thing of lemonade. We'll do the pizzas,
Yeah.
maybe just some water,
Yeah, I'll take
and that
water.
big
yeah.
old bag of ice.
And we did use all that water.
Yeah.
You were right.
Yeah, we should bring one.
I was like, oh, we're not gonna need it.
I was like, really?
She's like, are you sure? And then,
Oh,
I
yes.
was a little worried we were
I
gonna need
actually
more.
refilled the gallon jugs out of the tap.
Yeah.
Because we.
I was just refilling my water bottle
Yeah.
because I didn't want to take it.
yeah,
Okay.
so.
Water
It
here's
was,
fine.
we will not have the big of a turnout for, or the game night, or
Yeah.
music
I don't think the
night.
kids are even talking about it yet, though.
Oh, of course not. They're
Thanks.
talking about iTunes. Their event horizon is about 48 hours.
I know, I never talked about it. Did you guys feel, I didn't, because I don't know the folks, but I'm curious, I wish we had better demographics of who came to like Chinese New Year. Because I'm wondering about the freshman class. I'm
True.
wondering, I saw a few people that I'm like, I know they're in the freshman class, but I don't know, I honestly don't know. So
I
I'm
felt
wondering
like
if
it
there are a
was
lot of
mostly freshmen.
That's what Hannah told me.
Yeah, I think it was
The
mostly
were
freshmen.
well attended.
It
And
was.
mostly freshman parents, grandparents.
Well, yeah, what you can do is, with the badge, just write the year, the grade on it, for future years. It
Yeah.
won't work as much as game night because that'll be just the
Yeah.
kids. But
Right.
then you just ask the kids who's here and they'll tell you. Right?
Yeah.
Well, they're mostly here. They know, yeah.
I just wonder that we're not losing, I mean, yeah, that's great that they came, I just feel like they're a little different.
We should ask Elliot too.
Well,
So
and I
go up. Yeah.
I think that ultimately,
might
that
be more.
just, by the time they're juniors
Yeah.
and seniors forget it, I mean,
Yeah, they're.
No, I'm most concerned about the freshman class.
right?
Yeah.
I actually think it was mostly
Integration.
freshmen.
So I'm-
Freshmen, some
That's what I
sophomore.
was told.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aren't the freshmen doing pretty well this year? I mean,
Are they?
Safety's.
I haven't heard Jack complain, so.
Yeah, I know. I
I-
thought last year there was more tension between freshmen and others, just because it was such a huge class and they depended on the school. And it was a new school, so they weren't treating it with the respect that these other kids' schools, so that created more of a.
I think they've stayed amongst themselves, honestly. They've been really working to, this is what, I don't hear negative, I don't hear it, I just.
Yeah.
And the structure is very different than the
Yes.
school day this
Well,
year.
because
That's
even,
right.
I'm
That's
still
right.
surprised that, aside from like robotics club where he's interacting with some older classmen,
They're much.
he doesn't know
Yeah.
many of the older classmen.
So they just started a mentor-mentee program. I think that once a week you have to sit with your mentee, or there's, aside from advisories, right, where it's interchanged.
I
But
think Jack.
Friday, the mentor-mentee program. So that started up again, but Kira just made reference today that a sophomore approached her, she's never spoken to. I
Wow.
can't imagine it when there's only 100 and some kids.
Here's an
That's what I
example.
mean.
No,
There's
I think
robotics
You're
club.
right. Miriam, I think they stay amongst them.
amongst
Yeah.
themselves.
And the
Jack
schedule is
said
the
that the
biggest piece
schedule,
of it.
he said,
Yeah.
he said, there's
There's
now,
no
I don't
time,
have the
no.
time, I don't
They
have it in
really
my
don't.
schedule, I don't take classes with them, I don't eat lunch with them, and
Right.
so aside from like a club,
Right, you
That's-
don't.
That's high school anyway.
I know,
really.
no, I know,
You know
it's
what
just-
I mean?
I guess for me, like, I was in a small high school,
Oh,
and I knew
Yeah.
people,
yes, yeah.
so it's bizarre to me to hear that this whole student population is what, 140?
Yeah.
If that, and they don't know everybody,
See, I was
that
in
to me
private
is
school
strange.
and everybody came from all over, so it was, I've never had that
But,
experience.
you know,
Like,
for us as
your
parents to
neighbors
try to
and,
get
you know.
the kids together more in various combinations, I think it's good because, Seiji still hanging out a lot with the Berlin, students, because he knew them before he came here, and he plays on their soccer team, so he goes to theater there instead of doing it at Bellevue.
You know,
We're
I
like,
think he
"You gotta
is-
do it here."
Is
So,
he,
yeah.
is he more, Jack, I mean, aside from Nick.
Yeah.
And some of the kids in Boy Scouts that he sees in Boy Scouts because
Yeah.
it's Greenbelt, he doesn't hang out with those kids, he hangs out with their Valley kids.
Well, see, that's great, so somehow Seiji hasn't made that transition.
Well, can I,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I was always like last year with Hannah too, like,
Right.
but she made a really valid point one day. She's like, I see these kids every day, Mom. When I have the very little bit of time that I do have, because she's so
Sure.
busy, she's like, I just want to see my one, my couple really good friends from Park. And I
that's
went,
okay.
exactly.
And Mike had the same reaction the first couple of years.
And that's it, but it's starting to shift more, like now
It's-
I see
it does
more of
shift,
her
right.
Tech Valley friends starting to integrate with her other friends,
I
so.
I mean, I don't think it matters one way or the other.
No.
You know what, my
honestly,
kid's happy,
that's
he's doing
social,
well,
right.
You know
he's
what?
more social here than he ever was before he got here.
Yeah, that's girlfriend.
It's 10% of screen.
If you had told me 2 years ago that Jack was gonna be on the stage crew for the play,
Yeah.
2 years in a row,
Yeah.
I would have said, yeah, right.
Your son is stage manager,
I-
okay?
By the way.
What is that?
That was strong, oh my God. I have to tell you something about that whole one. That's,
But that's what I'm talking about, things
It was
like
like a little mafia connection.
he would never have done,
Standard play.
never would have done anything like that. I mean, I'm actually surprised he still does Boy Scouts at this point,
I agree.
So,
By the
I
way,
think that's
by the
what-
way,
I
Ilia's not
think
here
Nick's
today.
big thing about friends
Ilia?
here.
Yeah.
I don't
People
know.
are more accepting. Like,
Yeah.
people here are open.
she said that she could come tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, so she did reach out to me
That's
and
good.
said, I'm sorry, I can't come.
Borderline
Like Jen
Right.
said,
Probably
the
that's
very
literally
confident
why you can't
kids, and I think in traditional schools, that
I
confidence.
adjourned our meeting at 7:52, is that good enough?
I mean,
Yeah,
you
well,
able to send these, as you've been checking all along, are they good enough to send out like right after?
Check your phone in about 5 seconds.
Actually,
I love Will, I love you too.
I don't have internet connection, so it'll come when I get back home.
Okay, perfect.
Sure.
Good, because then I see that first thing in the morning and I do what I need to do and then we're good. All right, this was a long meeting, I hope it was worth it. I didn't know, obviously this New York life was gonna be that long, or
I just felt bad for Arbor. It was so.
you know what, I was
Yeah, I just-
schmoozing him before